Hello and welcome to Advertisers Watching Ads. My name is Tom Ollerton. I'm the founder of Automated Creative, and this is a weekly show where brands watch other brands' ads and discuss what's good and bad about them. We are brought to you this week by Contagious, who have helped choose the ad, or in fact chosen the ad this week, and we will look at that in a minute. But before we do that, let's meet this week's guests.
Hello, my name's Kelly Richards. I work for JCDecaux as a lead business growth manager.
My name is Sumati Nagrath, and I'm a content strategist and consumer experience manager at Reckitt.
And my name is Daykin. I'm the EMEA media director at GSK Consumer Healthcare.
And special shout out to Sumati, who's dialing in from Singapore. We're very much cutting into her evening, but thanks very much for that. Right, let's see this week's ads.
I don't chat with the boys, man so tough, but man's keep rocking. Just too sharp with the boys, white girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pine, if you wanna touch man, please use caution, 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 caution. Stop it.
Right, Jerry, as a consumer, what did you think first time you saw that?
I like this doing something disruptive, especially in a category where like car ads can be very samey, quite forgettable. So it is kind of different. But I'm always slightly cautious with these kind of things, that although some people will go down the rabbit hole and play the game and do that, the majority of people are just going to see that ad. And if that ad is just a QR code on the screen, then I don't know quite what the consumer will take away. But no, I like that they're trying something a bit different.
The only thing that I didn't really understand is it seemed to be sort of targeting a relatively younger audience. Would I be interested in playing a video game during the 30-second ad break? I'm just wondering how that translates to the target audience. That's all. But it was very engaging. And as I say, I love the fact that they seem to push and put women in the ad as well, which was good.
To be honest, I would have, if I was just watching it as a consumer on the television, I would have switched off. Like the colors were really bold, the music was, I'm on the other side of 40, Kelly. So for me, like it was like, yeah, I'm certainly not the target audience for this ad. But when I started watching it with the marketer's hat on, I have to say I really enjoyed the ad. I started looking at the different layers.
There's two things that work really well here. So the QR code, until recently was just a bit of an industry joke. Now it seems to be much more commonplace, certainly in the UK. Jerry, do you think that the brands are being brave pioneers here? Or do you think they've got distracted by a shiny new object?
QR codes have always been this like wonderful thing for marketers. Yay, we can take people to our marketing and sell them more stuff. But consumers have always been like, what the hell is a QR code? Why would I do that? And I think it's a weird side effect of COVID, certainly in the UK, but I think in many countries that you've had to start scanning more QR codes to check in places, to look at menus. And we kind of all know what they are now. I think in some parts of Asia, like China in particular, they're massive. They've been huge for years, but now more broadly they are. And I think therefore they've kind of waited to a good time when the tech is ready and people are ready. And I think they'll get a much bigger uptake certainly than we did a decade ago.
I was surprised that they would use a QR code on a TV ad. That's what surprised me, because I'm sort of imagining myself in my lounge where I'm sat at the moment, sort of going up to my telly, putting it. So I am surprised, because you would assume with a TV ad, you'd be able to be more explicit with instructions of how to do things and whatever. So that surprised me. And I'd be interested to know how well that works. So yes, they seem to be working a lot more now. And I am really interested to find out how many people actually click through on that QR code on the telly, because I've never seen the whole QR code on the telly before.
So, Sumati, do you think that the brand benefit and the excitement and the tech and the innovation would give us good a return on just running some basic ads on Facebook saying, why don't you book a test drive with this new car? Or do you think that they've done the right thing by pushing it?
There were 2 or 3 things that were happening. So for me, like one, I would never have thought of Volkswagen as a gaming, in a gaming environment, right? So the first thing was that I would always think of it as a family car. But suddenly in this ad, they're doing that as well. That they're bringing, I think, a new direction or, a new identity to that particular model of the car. But I also, if you look at it in the context of the lockdown and stuff, right, in Melbourne and Sydney right now, off and on, they're having extreme lockdowns. So test drives and stuff are not also as possible to have. So to come into a showroom to interact with that actual model, it's not the ground reality at the moment. So I think that in taking all of that into account, this probably is a very interesting, innovative model that they're trying out.
There's something really interesting about I think both Sumati and Kelly touched on the target audience, and there's that kind of fun. I often think some campaigns like this sort of work more by accident than by design, because I think you kind of think the people who are actually going to play this game, actually download it, certainly the people who are going to try really hard to win it, are going to be probably a little bit younger and probably more, there's just certain people who love entering competitions and will spend hours and hours doing that. I think quite a lot of people who will actually buy this car, it is kind of an aspirational car for younger people, but it's not cheap. I think a lot of people who buy it won't actually play the game or interact with it, but they will kind of like the fact that that's happened. They'll like the fact that it's a brand that's doing something a bit different, that it's standing out a bit. They'll hear about it, they'll think about it.
And from a digital point of view, Jerry, I just think that when I went in to play the game, there was no registration, there was no profiling, there was no, so in a sense, it's actually working as a typical brand reach campaign, right? You would say so many people reached. But it's certainly not getting into the detailed metrics that you would want to. If you want to retarget them, or you want to send them an email basis, their age profile, income profile, and saying, do you want to? So there is absolutely no collection of any kind of active collection of data that's happening at that point in time as well.
So Kelly, what do you think would have made this execution better?
I do think the execution was good. I just felt that there is a slight disconnect between who the TV ads seem to be targeting and who would be actually interested in buying the car. I think what Sumati touched on regarding the lack of data capture probably alludes to the fact that the game is a sort of nice to have. I would question what's the point then if most of the people interacting with the game might not be able to afford the product, and you're not really sort of capturing that data to at least retarget them. There is still the opportunity and the tech to be able to show people the key features of the car and at least educate the consumer on what the benefits of the new model is. If you've got people who have made the effort to kind of go onto the game and explore the brand and explore, these key features, how do you then keep them engaged past the game and keep them engaged in the brand so that they then come through and whether they book a test drive or at least inquire about the product like that. I think that's an opportunity there, really.
Should brands be ditching data capture in return for a great top of funnel experience?
I don't think it's mutually exclusive, Tom. I think if you're giving such a brilliant experience and you have a follow-up to that saying for an additional value add or an additional value proposition, here is something else. But for that, I need your data. But if they had said something like, before you set off or after you finish your practice course and stuff, would you like to sign up for a test drive? It's just asking that one additional question at the end. And if they say yes, you're still giving that optionality. What's your location or anything? You can just ask another profiling question. It doesn't even have to be an email yet. It could just be a location or anything. I don't know, but I would definitely add another layer to that.
So unfortunately, we are at the end of the recording. So on a count of 3, I'm going to ask you to give this ad a mark out of 5 using your fingers. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, that is a high scoring ad for advertisers watching ads. Sumati, Kelly, Jerry, thank you so much.